Welcome back, comrades. This is Gaming with Austin. Today, we are on Come on! Episode 66 of the Utopian Community Series Season 2. And today, we are going to continue on with layering and layering. This is how I do the floors when I build skyscrapers. This is how I do them. I do it by layering. And eventually, tomorrow would be the last day I'd do the series on a desktop. I'd export it, the save over to OneDrive, and import it over to the Dell Inspiron I have as in the same room as my tower. Like once I save, I'd export the save to the cloud. I'm planning a new gaming series. When will the series premiere? After my Florida trip. After my trip to Florida, I'd start a new series. Like when I get home from Florida. I'd set up a new series. I'll be setting up a new series when you get home from Florida. For my new series, I'm gonna play The Sims 4. The secret to fighting capitalism while still remaining sort of it's possible to fight capitalism without consumerism. Fighting consumerism. We can't get rid of consumerism entirely, but we gotta control it. We have to tame it. We gotta tame it. The problems of capitalism includes exporting labor to other countries to make more profits. If I become president, I'd make it of the United States, I'd make it illegal for American companies to export their labor to other countries. I'd make it illegal for companies to outsource their labor. I know prices of phones might go up, but another reason phones need to be taxed too, is so people could get off their phones and do something and contribute to society as a whole, and start contributing to society. Start by doing stuff. Work on a farm. Work in a factory. Build a computer. So people can... There are content creators that are there to make us happy. As part of my anti-capitalist campaign, as president, I talk with YouTube about demonetizing the videos. Or maybe have all the videos get monetized. That here with the far left. With the leftist ideals. Because I'd like for YouTube and Google to start cracking down on the far right. Along with Microsoft. It's immoral for people to get paid much higher wages than others. It's not moral. Because who needs to be making $100,000 a year? Answer, no one. There's no need for that. Let's explain political ideologies. Capitalism, different jobs have different wages, with the more intensive ones getting paid more. While the less labor-intensive jobs get paid less. In socialism, everybody gets paid the same. But that money will not meet some of the citizens' metabolic needs. But the problem with that is some of the citizens have a really fast metabolism, which means they need more food. In communism, instead of being given money, you'd be given actual food items. The consumer goods would be used as a medium of exchange. And everybody would share the resources based on their physiological needs. Like, their metabolic needs. Like, if you have a greater metabolism, even at rest, no matter how skinny or fat you are, because there are some skinny people out there who have rapid-fire metabolism. Like, if you have a greater metabolism, you'd be given more food. If your metabolism is slower, you wouldn't need as much food. You wouldn't have to have as much food if you have a slower metabolism. Jobs that require a lot of heavy lifting, people need to be paid more because that requires more energy. Those jobs require a lot of human power. Like, it is an energy demanding job. Like, you'd have to lift a lot. Like, you'd have to eat a lot before you can lift that much. For me, even though I'm gaining muscle, I'm already losing weight, despite the fact I am gaining a lot of muscle. When I get an actual job, with my paycheck, like, if I get paid $40,000 a year, I'd put some of my money into a specialized account, like a savings account. Like, I have more than enough food to last me a couple. 20 pounds of rice for one person can last them a long time. That is a very good idea, to use rice as apocalypse food. Even though it doesn't have, despite the fact that it doesn't have preservatives, like most shelf-stable foods have, rice and beans can last a very long time on their own. The problem with having too much food in a society is that some of the food might spoil. That's the best way to preserve it is to dehydrate it. Like strip it of all the moisture. Basically moisture stripping. With the glorious motherland, which I would refer to the continents, until the Intercontinental Confederation. And the very first time that America was doomed to descend into plutocracy, a lot of it had to do with slavery. If we start putting a tax on corporations, like, the real reason why McDonald's will not pay their workers $15 an hour, no, it's not about how simple their job is. A lot of it has to do with the fact that, if they evenly distribute all the wealth across the company, none of the employees would be making $15 an hour. Not even the executives, nor the managers, will be making that much. The result? People within the business would have to compete for that wage, literally. I know competition comes at an expense. And with greed, you benefit from it while everybody else suffers. When there's a food shortage going on, which almost an entire population of a country is on the brink of malnutrition, people have no choice but to be greedy. When people become greedy, they steal. They lie about why they make so much money. They lie about needing that money. That's a problem. Those are some of the problems associated with the bourgeoisie. The proletarians have a greater need for the money, because they're the ones who earned it. They need it to pay rent. Back in the 1970s, proletarians used to sustain themselves on minimum wage. Even with a lot of kids. Back in the 60s and 70s. Probably the 1950s. The proletarians were able to sustain themselves. That was the golden age of capitalism right there. But now, capitalism has failed all of us. Capitalism has failed all of us. Capitalism is adding fuel to the fire of world hunger. World hunger... Capitalism, on paper, is like water, whilst the world hunger is a fire, but it's no but that fire, that world hunger is, it's no ordinary fire. That fire is a metal fire. But the only form of capitalism that works is state capitalism. In state capitalism, taxation is basically obsolete. You wouldn't need to pay taxes since the government makes money selling stuff to you. That is state capitalism. That is state capitalism. And the government would be able to distribute the money more fairly than the corporations will. Some people believe it's fair that that heart surgeons get paid more than McDonald's workers, and that and some of those pro-capitalists also believe that white people should get paid more than the other ethnic groups. This is bullshit. White supremacy is bullshit. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, we are all human. If I become president, we're gonna explore a history curriculum. We're gonna educate people about the consequences of being greedy that society would face. I know you might benefit from greed, but everybody else ends up suffering. You benefit at their expense. We need a society that benefits everybody without the expense. Communism would probably work, because people would get paid based on their needs. When it goes to jobs, they'd be assigned a job based on what they're good at. They'd be assigned jobs based on what they're good at. They'd get paid based on their needs. You'd be assigned jobs based on what you're good at, and get paid based on your needs. The more funds you produce, the more you'd be able to give to other people. To prove that capitalism needs to be abolished, do you know how much it costs to make a vial of insulin? $7. On the market, insulin sells for about $300 for a month's worth of supply. This is just not fair. Not only income inequality in America is on the rise, but tribal inequality is on the rise too. Which probably means that America's descending into fascism as a consequence of capitalism. What we need is an economy that works for everybody. that benefits workers at the expense of the bourgeoisie. One thing we need to do is toughen our labor laws to make it, like, when you reach a certain age, you'd automatically be a member of a trade union. Like, you can't leave that trade union at all. Even when you're dead, you're still a member of that trade union. Where will your money go? I believe that all that hard-earned cash you have, where should it go when you die? It should go straight to the government. So they could use that money to fund our schools. Because education is a right, not a privilege. There are people out there that are struggling in school even though they are studying really hard. A lot of it might be possible that they might be on the early stages of dementia. When you suffer with Alzheimer's, you end up forgetting the ABCs. Those with Alzheimer's, a lot of times they can't even remember their ABCs in the late stage of Alzheimer's. As it gets worse, sadly it runs in my mom's side of the family. Your chances of developing Alzheimer's increases. Like, if you have both sides of your family with family members with Alzheimer's, if you have family members on both sides with Alzheimer's, your chances of getting Alzheimer's will increase. Same thing with Brugada syndrome. If both of your parents have it, there's a 75 to 100% chance you'll have it. What we need to do, we gotta focus on genetic engineering, so we could delete those faulty genes. And edit our genetics to ensure that we are more generous of one another, not as greedy. I know some people might get really pissed off. I know some people might criticize my decision, saying that it's crimes against biology. But we gotta ensure that we can get rid of greed in the human race. By ensuring that we change our curriculum about the consequences of greed, that has on society. One of the consequences of greed is the crippling of democracy. You know, like animals, humans will fight for food when there's not enough of it. Just like all animals. But the solution is if we alter our genetics to where we have a slower metabolism. To where we grow a lot more slowly. When you grow more slowly, you wouldn't need as much food. London treats crime is beginning to treat crime like a public health issue. What if we treat greed like that? Even though it's not a health issue, we should treat it like one. But you know, some people believe that greed is crucial for fascism, because some of those people are actually neo-Nazis. And I oppose fascism. I oppose authoritarianism. I oppose capitalism in favor of democracy. Like, in favor of libertarian communism. I am in favor of libertarian communism. What libertarian communism is, it's basically a form of communism in which the means of production are owned by this, are under common ownership, and people have civil liberties. And civil liberties are preserved. An example of libertarian communism are the intentional communities that are ruled under direct democracy, in which everything is shared amongst the population. That people still have their free will. That'd be libertarian communism right there. You know, the reason humans will go to war when there's not enough food, it's something called nature has methods of population control across all animals. One method is biological competition, whether it be intraspecific or interspecific. Another method of population control is predation. Predation, one species benefits while the other one suffers. When you're an apex predator, the only way population can be controlled as an apex predator is competition. Because there are no other... Population control is crucial to keeping the ecosystem balanced. Us humans can we all have a choice whether or not we want to have kids. Some people, like some societies like the Catholic Church, oppose birth control and abortion. In fact, they want people to have they encourage people to have as many kids as possible as a way to increase the congregation, the membership of the Catholic Church. Because, you know, my grandfather's a Catholic. The lead singer of Slayer, ironically though, even though the music's kind of satanic, the lead singer is actually Catholic. Ironically. Even though I'm an atheist. When it goes to religion, I am an atheist. And if we want to achieve true communism, people should have the right to exercise their religious beliefs. With the exception of denying them health care. When it goes to health care and religion, the welfare of the child is more important than your exercising freedom of religious belief. Because some sects of Christianity oppose vaccination. which is pretty sad. Children need to be your children need to be they need to be vaccinated. I oppose the anti-vaxxer movement because our children, they need to be vaccinated regardless. Regardless of your parents' beliefs, you need to be vaccinated. Some people believe that vaccinations cause autism. That is not true. Anyways, this is it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you like this video. Dislike if you disliked it. Subscribe for more. Share this with your comrades on social media. As always, thank you for watching, stay tuned for more, and peace out.